Welcome to this week's episode of Storytime here at Childhood Culture and Learning. My name is Charlie Malone. I'm really happy to share a story with you this week. I have the day off because it's Christopher Columbus Day, and I, like many other people, would prefer that we rename this day Indigenous People Day. But that's another issue that we can explore in other venues. But for today, I would like to read the story of the Earth on Turtle's Back. It's a story that was told by the Onondaga indigenous people who lived in the northeast woodlands of what we now call the United States. So let's enjoy the story. There's not a lot of pictures in this book, so make the pictures with your mind. And after I'm finished telling the story, maybe you want to draw some pictures or paint some pictures or tell more stories. All right. Before this earth existed, there was only water. It stretched as far as one could see, and in that water there were birds and animals swimming around. Far above in the clouds there was a skyland. In that skyland there was a great and beautiful tree. It had 4 white roots which stretched to each of the sacred directions, and from its branches all kinds of fruits and flowers grew. There was an ancient chief in the skyland. His wife was expecting a child, and one night she dreamed that she saw the great tree uprooted. The next morning she told her husband the story. He nodded as he listened to her dream, and as she finished telling her dream, he said, "My wife, I'm sad that you had this dream. It is clearly a dream of great power, and as is our way, when one has such a powerful dream, we must do all that we can do to see it through. The great tree must be uprooted." And then the ancient chief called the people together and told them that they must pull up the tree. But the roots of the tree were so deep, so strong, that they could not budge it. At last the ancient chief himself came to the tree, and he wrapped his arms around it. He bent his knees and strained. At last, with one great effort, he uprooted the tree and placed it on its side. Where the tree's roots had gone deep into the skyland, there was now a big hole. The wife of the chief came close and leaned over to look down, grasping the tip of one of the great tree's branches to steady her. It seemed as if she saw something down there, far below, glittering like water. She leaned out farther to look, and as she leaned, she lost her balance and fell into the hole. Her grasp slipped off the tip of the branch, leaving her with only a handful of seeds as she fell. Down, 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 down. Branch, leaving her with only a handful of seeds as she fell. Far below, in the waters, some of the birds and the animals looked up. "Someone's falling toward us from the sky," said one of the birds. "We must do something to help her," said another. Then 2 swans flew up, and they caught the woman from the sky between their wide wings, and slowly they began to bring her down toward the water where the birds and animals were watching. "She is definitely not like us," one of the animals. "Look, she doesn't have webbed feet. She doesn't have wings. I don't think she can live in the water or the air." "Well, what are we going to do?" said another of the animals. "I know," said one of the water birds. "I've heard that there's earth far below the waters, and if we dive down and bring up earth, then she will have a place to stand." So the birds and the animals decided that someone would have to bring up earth. One by one they tried. The duck dove down first, some say. She swam down and down far beneath the surface, but could not reach the bottom, then floated back up. Then the beaver tried. Went even deeper, so deep that it was all dark, but he could not reach the bottom. The loon tried swimming with her strong wings, but she was gone a long, long, long time, but he too failed to bring up earth. Soon it seemed that everyone had tried and all had failed. And then a small voice spoke. I'm going to bring up earth or die trying. And they looked to see who it was. It was Tiny Muskrat. She dove down and swam and swam. She was not as strong or as swift as the others, but she was determined. She went so deep that it was all dark, and still she swam deeper. She went so deep that her lungs felt ready to burst, but she swam deeper still. At last, just as she was becoming unconscious, she reached out one small paw and gasped at the bottom, barely touching it, before she floated up to the top, almost dead. When the other animals saw her break the surface, they thought she had failed, but then they saw her right paw was held tightly shut, and she had the beautiful, rich earth soil in her paw. And then all the other animals started diving down because they believed it was possible, and they started bringing up a little bit of dirt here and there. She is earth and we can get some more. But now, where can we put it? Place it on my back, said a deep voice. It was the great turtle who had come up from the depths. And they brought the muskrat over to the great turtle and placed her paw against his back. To this day, there are marks at the back of the turtle's shell, which were made by the muskrat's paw. And then all the other animals started putting their dirt and earth on the turtle's back and making hills and valleys and mountains. The tiny bit of earth that fell on the back of the turtle's shell started growing larger and larger until it became a whole world. Then the two swans brought the sky woman down to the earth shell. She stepped onto the new earth and opened her hand, letting the seeds fall into the bare soil. And from those seeds, the trees and the grass sprang up, and life on earth began. I love that story. Makes me think how we're all connected. How we all have to do our share in taking care of the earth and taking care of each other. Have a great week. See you next week. And until then, see you outside.